Hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug was a Christmas gift from my oldest daughter. It says my cup of tea on the front. You can see that. It also says it on the back. It has this neat little lid. And then inside it has a diffuser for your tea. My tea has been sitting in there for a little while. Pull that off like that. And there I can drink my cup of tea. My tea today is my last chance to try to get the Fava Tea Company Peanut Butter Kiss Cookie caffeine-free tea to work for me. As you know, I've had some issues with getting the flavor to show up. Basically, this is the last bit of it. So let's hope it works out this time. I'm going to give it a taste. It's hot. Okay, so that actually came out a little bit better than it has before. Not getting peanut butter, really. Maybe a little bit, but I'm mostly getting chocolate. Cocoa, planed almonds, caramel pieces, and flavoring. It's okay. Got enough sugar in there, got enough tea in there so I can finally taste it. And now that we have gotten it to work, to actually be able to taste it, I kind of like it. So welcome to another Whole and Healthy Wednesday. First, I want to say I hope you all had a great Christmas, and I hope you all had a wonderful New Year. On December 31st, my husband and I celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary. 21 years, still love him, still want to keep him. Also want to make a note that I've actually changed a couple of things in the actual filming, how I'm set up, my filming setup is. Nothing about the room or anything itself has changed, just how I have my filming set up. Please let me know if there's any problems, for you with the lighting or anything of that nature. So before we get started with our actual makeup, as you know, I'm already set to go. First, I have to show you our old and new. So for our new, I have just received, this is my husband's Christmas gift. My husband and I are very unusual. From the second or third week that we've known each other, we've not really been able to surprise each other. So we do not buy gifts for each other. We basically allow the other person to buy their gift because it just doesn't work. We can't surprise each other, so we just might as well let the other person buy their gift. We probably could get away with a few surprises now, I think, in terms of, no, we probably couldn't. It's sad. We finish each other's thoughts. We're one of those couples that just drive people crazy. But anyway, so I purchased for myself, from my husband, the Urban Decay Elements palette. It is currently, at the time of this video, on sale. I actually received this yesterday, which would be Sunday. I have used it once already. This is pretty close to the old Urban Decay that I remember, at least from what I've used already. But that's going to be our new. Our quote-unquote old comes from this past summer, and that's the Violet Voss Flamingo palette. And possibly my Tarte Treasure Chest treasure box from last year. So those are our old and new for our eyeshadows. Also for new will be the Be a Light face palette. I received this as a part of a contest win. I'm also going to be using quite a few of my Ipsy and BoxyCharm things as well. So, but let's go ahead and get ourselves started. And today's topic, like I said, is a continuation of we were talking about previously about exercise, and wanted to continue that discussion a little bit. Also amongst my new things will be my Juvia's Place eyeshadow brushes that Tamaray helped me pay for, or paid for me anyway. So she got them for me, even though I'm the one that ordered them. God, that sounds familiar. Me and my husband. I'm going to start with this color, Flip Flops. Down here. Put that under my brow. Okay, so as you all know, I started off, that's a bit more peachy than I expected. I started off basically stretching in bed because I could barely get out of bed. And somehow I've gone from that and to barely being able to lift anything, barely being able to walk anywhere, barely being able to do much of anything else, to walking anywhere from 3 to 7 miles a day. I can lift, I was lifting about 10 or 11, 12 pounds, somewhere in there, before I injured my arm and had to take a break. And otherwise, I'm up and about and doing things. So this was a progression over years. If you are in a place where you are not all that physically active, don't push yourself too hard. Pay attention to what your body says it needs. Pay attention to when your body says you're doing too much. I'm going to put a little bit of this color Donut, the pink, over that peachy color. Start off easy. So I started off in bed, as I've said, stretching. And then I started doing very slow, and I mean very slow. Just, it was difficult because I couldn't, like I said, I was bedridden. It was very hard for me just to get up to the restroom. So I started off very slow, walking around the house, walking around the grocery store. I would have to lean on the cart, but I was up and walking, and I was doing what I needed to do. And then I also was attempting a few other things that I really wasn't ready for, and I'd have to stop doing. And then we moved, and we got into a nice neighborhood, and one of the first things I started to do was to start walking, because we moved right when the weather was really nice, and walking was one of those things that I could do without having to put out any money or anything like that. But of course, your weather doesn't always stay nice. It gets too hot. I do think that first summer that I kept walking even though it was really hot. In some ways that was kind of unsafe because, you know, you have to make sure you have water and stuff with you. But there is a point. If it's 100-degree weather, you don't want to be out walking really. Just for safety's sake more than anything else. So, yeah, I started walking a bit. But when it got too hot, I actually, the other thing I started doing, also, I just skipped this, I missed it, and I still do it today to a degree, a much faster degree, I guess. I started stepping when I was doing dishes, so I would be stepping in place while washing dishes. And one of the interesting thing is, if I just stood over the sink and did dishes, my back would hurt. No surprise. But if I stepped, it not only kept my back shifting so that I wasn't placing pressure on one point, but it did a few other things for me as well. It helped build up my walking ability. And so I started stepping initially when I was doing dishes. Simple little things you can do. I'm going to take this color Ego right here. I'm going to put it on the inner corner. And then I'm going to put Lioness, which is much darker, on the outer side. So, and then I got here and I started walking around because we were really in a very pretty neighborhood. One of these days I'll take you guys walking with me. We're hopefully in a couple of months we'll be hitting the point where I'll be bringing walking back. I don't walk in the heat of summer and I don't walk in winter for various reasons. One of them is too cold and wet. And the other one is just way too hot, and I prefer to be safe, you know? So I started off with that, but then, like I said, it started to get kind of hotter, and I knew better than to walk in 90 to 100-degree weather. I know there are people who do, but, you know, I just didn't want to risk... I was already a heart attack away from leaving my son. I didn't want to risk having a heart attack, if that makes sense. I didn't want to push those chances. And we knew my health wasn't the best. So I knew I had to do things that were on the safer end. So that's when I first started getting interested in Beachbody. And I think I mentioned that one of the things I was concerned about was my belly and how big my stomach was. And so they had something called hip hop abs. And that's the first Beachbody program I tried, and I loved it. And from there, I loved Shanti. I will tell you, I love Shanti. His energy is great. I will say not until recently, I haven't liked the composition of most of the body types in their workouts, but I did like him. I did like the fact that he had someone who would show you how to do it if you weren't as experienced or as healthy. So I really actually ended up really liking Shanti. And the next workout that I ended up getting was Rockin' Body, because that was a dance program. And yes, I had a dance program, but the dance program I already had was a little more complicated with the steps and was very frustrating to me in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I like about the Beachbody programs, now I don't like that they push the shakes and all that other stuff, but one of the things that I actually like about the Beachbody programs themselves is that they have a calendar, usually a 6 to 8 week calendar. And that means that they have easy to start 20-minute programs. And then you build up to the longer ones. So that's something that I really liked. So I got that. And then from there, I think I went to Turbo Jam. Yes. Then I tried Turbo Jam, and I ended up liking Turbo Jam and MMA, which should not have surprised me, because when I was a teenager and in high school and middle school, I think it was, possibly through high school, I did take judo for a while. I did damage a knee during that time. I'm going to use the same brush to snag this lioness and put it on the outer part. And then I need to find a color in here to put in the center. Like I was saying, I really like the fact that they actually set you up with a gradually progressing program in their workouts. And from what I've seen, they're all like that. After Turbo Jam, I picked up PiYo because I was interested in increasing my flexibility and my strength. And PiYo is pilates and yoga mixed, and that program is not easy. I am not nearly as flexible as some of those people, and on top of that, I have much longer legs, so proportionally, so some of the moves are even more difficult because my legs kind of get in the way, so to speak. PiYo was not easy to do. But after PiYo, or right around the time that I started PiYo, by that time I'd shed, I want to say 60 pounds or more. This was progressive over years. In my first year, I lost about 30, 35 pounds. The next year, I think I lost a little less. And then, okay, so this is over a progression of several years. For me, even though they had a calendar, I ended up having to take longer for certain things. Like when I first started Hip Hop Abs, I still didn't have the stamina. I was doing much better because I had been walking, but I still didn't have the stamina I really, really needed. And so I ended up being in the first couple of workouts that they had for quite a bit longer than the 1 or 2 weeks that they had them. So I'm going to go quite a bit out of what I initially said I was going to do. I'm going to use this color Island right here for the center of my eye. And just go right in the middle. Oh, you need something else. I'm going to take the color Luna and throw it over that that kind of bright orangey color and make it lighter, I hope. Okay, Luna so far is probably the only one that's disappointing in here so far, because it's already starting to seal up a little bit. I'm going to try this one. I got this in that contest win. There was an entire set of these as well. Let's see if this helps. A little bit. I think that looks a little better. I'm going to throw a touch of this Dreamweaver. Whoop, don't want to do that. Going to throw a touch of this Dreamweaver over the top too. Give it more of a pinky cast, I hope. There we go. Just not as bright as I wanted it to be. Pink! Well, that's kind of pretty. All right, getting into my Tarte box real quick. I'm going to try some of this Joyride over that same center spot that I'm having issues with. Just in the center. And then I'm going to add some more of the darker color of Lioness around the outside, because I'm losing some of that. So even if you buy programs, you still want to take your time and make sure that your body is up to it. You don't want to risk, you know, throwing your body out and getting injured, or making yourself too tired, or, you know, anything like that. You want to progress. You don't want to make the whole thing harder. You don't want to make yourself have to take time off to heal if you can avoid it. Back to progress where I went. So I was doing all of that, and then I finally decided to pick up some weights. I went with the first things I got, I think, were ankle weights, which I put on my, obviously my ankles initially, to walk mostly. And I started with light weights. I think they were I think my initial weights came from a Turbo Jam set, because one of the sets had gloves, and they were like 3/4 pounds or half a pound. So I had those on my arms or my hands, and then I also got 1 pound ankle weights, and I was climbing stairs. That was hard. And to this day, climbing stairs is hard. I'm going to take this color Hex Remedy, this purple. Try to do this without flashing you guys. But this purple color Hex Remedy, and I'm going to put that in my crease. But I gradually built up my weights, and then I got a stability ball. And I have to tell you guys, that stability ball ended up being the best purchase I made. I would still get all the weights and all that other stuff, but that stability ball, I not only used it for exercise, and there are stability ball workouts, but I don't use it that way. I did a lot of research on how I could use a stability ball and all that stuff. So I use the stability ball not only for the workouts, but I also use it as a regular chair. And I have found that now, as a chair when I'm sitting at my desk, and I have found that now it's much harder for me to sit on a stable chair. It's much more uncomfortable because a stability ball will force you to use your core. So, like I said, best purchase. I use it for working out. I use it to sit on all the time. I can do little mini workouts while I'm sitting. Best purchase I ever made. So I got the stability ball, and I started doing weights, and I started building up on weights. And then by the time my plateau hit with the menopause and all that just really kind of messing up my weight loss. I mean, I've been slowing down for a while by that point, but when the actual stop hit, it was very hard. I kept doing all kinds of things to try to get it jump started again. And then I decided to take a break, and then I was forced to take an even longer break, and now we're where I'm at. I still have all these workouts. I still love all these workouts, okay? And I still hope to use them on occasion as ways to, if it's raining too hard and it's a walk day, I'm hoping that I can use, I'll use one of the workouts instead. They each, I have found, build your stamina in different ways. Walking really builds your stamina, but I have found that same stamina does not necessarily carry over to, say, the MMA stuff that I do. That's the last workout I bought, was a mixed martial arts workout from, I can't remember the name of the program, but it was also from BeachBody. And no, this is not sponsored. I like the workouts. If you can find something else that you're going to enjoy, take the something else that you're going to enjoy, okay? Need to make sure you're going to like what you're going to do. Next, I'm going to take this blue Sapphire Dream, and I'm going to put that to deepen my crease and along my edges. But for now, for a while now, my plan is to focus mostly on weightlifting. When it's warm enough, I will start walking again a couple times a week, but I will still stay focused on weightlifting. Now, there are reasons for that. You do need both, really. Ideally, you do need both cardio and strength training, if you can find a way to do it. And I do believe I mentioned before that, sometimes you do have to focus on, say, weight loss versus anything else for a while because of where your health is at and where your body is at. But I am up and I am doing, like I said, I can walk 3 to 7 miles a day depending on what's going on. So I think I'm at a point now where I need to focus on other things other than weight loss. And I'll be honest, I'm a little worried about getting back to it and getting very frustrated because my body doesn't want to budge. Your body hits a set point, and it can be hard to take it below that set point. And you have to decide how much you're willing to deal with the frustration of trying to get lower by literally focusing on weight loss as your goal. I have decided that for me, I'm 55 years old, and I have decided for me that life is too damn short to make weight loss my focus. My focus needs to be health. And part of health, Whole and Healthy Wednesdays, we want to make our health our whole thing. I want to make that part of the discussion. Is also how much frustration I'm willing to put into my life. And honestly, I'm not willing to put that much frustration into my life. I'm going to try, it's kind of on the green side though. That was blue. I'm going to try this one, Heavy Water. It's kind of a tealy blue-green. Underneath on the outside, well, you know what? I'll make that on the inside. The green color. And then we will use this Tectonic on the outside. There is an argument that you will occasionally run into on the net about this one being the best, that one being the best. In all honesty, neither are best. They are both necessary. You need them both. Once again, I've lost track of my phone. Hopefully I haven't cut too much out that's important. This is Tectonic. I'm putting this on the outside. It's a brown, but you can you know what? I think I know what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to put this brown on the outside. I'm going to mix this color Fire Starter into that brown on the outside. But as I was saying, neither one of them is better. They both have their purpose. They both do different things, and you kind of need them both. So it is always good to find a way to mix both cardio and find a way to get some kind of lifting into your life as well. So what is the difference? Well, first of all, cardio burns more immediate calories. If you did a workout doing cardio, wow, okay, yeah, that definitely showed up. If you did a workout doing cardio and then did the same amount of time lifting weights, quite likely for that time period, you will see a much higher burn if you were using a, I think the eye look is done for now. You would find a much higher burn for the cardio. Cardio is just, it's a calorie burner. It's an initial calorie burner. It increases your stamina. It gives you better lung capacity, things like that. It burns fat more than anything else, which is what a lot of us want to actually use. When we say we want to lose weight, we actually are saying we want to lose fat. Also from the new, I just started playing with this. This is another one from that contest win. This is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. The last time I think you guys saw this, I'm not sure, but I think the last time you saw it, I tried to use it as a foundation. It worked as a foundation. However, it is a concealer, so that's what I'm going to use it at. So cardio burns fat, it builds stamina, and it has a higher short-term burning of calories. Lifting builds muscle, which is actually kind of important to how much you burn overall, by the way, and at least to a degree. Yeah, at least to a small degree. But it builds muscle, and the burn, while the burn is lower during the workout, you actually get a longer burn through your day after you've lifted. The burn is more long-term. And that muscle is actually what defines your body. It's what, when you see someone who's lean, assuming they aren't, just plain thin, but they're lean and they're, like their waist is defined, their arms are defined. That's all from muscle. So muscle defines your body. It burns more in the long term. Build up your muscle and your metabolism will go up and you will burn more through the day. Not a lot. I think they find on average that you will burn like maybe 50 to 140 calories more. I can't remember if that's per day or per hour. I think that's per day. So it's not a lot, but you will burn a little bit more. So those are the two main differences. The other thing you need to keep in mind is cardio is usually used with cutting calories to actually lose weight. But when you're building muscle, when you're lifting weights, you actually need to eat more. You need to make sure you're eating more protein. And you're not necessarily going to lose weight. You will change your body shape, but you will not necessarily lose weight. Muscle weighs more than fat. And you can't say a pound of fat and a pound of muscle. A pound is a pound. But if you get like a cubic foot of fat and a cubic foot of muscle, the muscle is going to weigh more. So you aren't necessarily going to lose weight, but one of the things is when you are older, as you get older, one of the things that you end up losing the quickest is muscle. You'll gain fat and you'll lose muscle. So as an older woman, one of the things that I need to do is combat losing muscle and rebuild my muscle. Had I started all that when I was younger, I'd probably be better off now. I really would. And in the end, you kind of need both. You need to increase your stamina. You need to keep your muscle up to keep for your physical shape and to help burn more calories and things like that. So you do need them both. So how am I doing that? Well, starting tomorrow, which will be yesterday when this goes up, but starting tomorrow, I'm going to get back into my weights routine. I do have a routine, sort of, that I was doing for a while. Yesterday, depending, will be my total body day when I work on the ball and I try to work everything. Legs, arms, core, chest, back. And then Thursday, I will focus on my core, not because I think I can lose weight there, but because I want to try to burn the muscle. I want to try to get that leaner look in that area. So, and to do that, I do need to focus on those muscles. And then Saturday, I'll do another total body, which also includes my core, by the way. I do it every other day like that because you need break time in between. You need to give your muscles a chance to rest between these things. For me personally, with my life, the way it's set up, it's just easier to just do the 3 days a week right now. That's what it comes down to. But every night, what I do is I dance with the dishes. I don't step anymore. I put on my headphones, I put on the music, and I am rocking and rolling while I'm doing this. It gets me soaking wet. Yes. So that's my cardio right now, and that's my muscle burning. And between the two, I get, I get probably a good hour and a half. Well, when I'm doing dishes can take me anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on what was made that day. My weights workouts are way too long, guys. I need to bring them down. I already know I need to bring them down a little bit. But you do need, about 30 minutes of exercise a day, 5 days a week, at least 5 to 6 days a week, for it to really be, especially if you're looking at weight loss, for it to be really effective. That's what I'm doing right now. When it comes to, when we get into the spring, when it's no longer freezing cold, and hopefully when it's no longer pouring, although it's usually pretty wet down south in the spring too. Hopefully in the spring I will get back to walking again. That's what I'm doing, and I would encourage you to think about, like I've said before, it needs to be something that you're going to enjoy doing so that you will go back to it. And you also don't need to do that 30 minutes all at once. If 30 minutes at one time, you can't find it, that's great. You still need to make time. Understand that I'm of the belief that you don't find time for things that you want or need to do. You make time. And for exercise, that's a definite thing that you need to do. So, but there are ways to do that without having to do it all in one. You can do 10 or 15 minutes of something, then take a break and do 10 or 15 minutes of something a little later in the day. You can do things like, instead of taking the elevator to your job, climb the stairs, park further away. There are ways to bring more activity into your life without it taking over your life. So, and that is important. You just have to find the way that works for you. Find what I call the spaces in your time and use them. When I was substitute teaching, I would do my writing during my, if I didn't have great papers to grade, or if I didn't have enough time to grade the papers, because, you can get into a groove and, next thing you know, kids are pouring in. I would use those spaces for my editing and revising when I was writing. I'm going to be getting back to that too. I really am. So you just have to find the spaces. You know what? You can make a smoothie or something and drink that while you're doing a walk during your lunch break. You can grab a sandwich, hopefully not eat it too fast, but grab a sandwich and then walk for 10 minutes. You can, instead of going straight home, park your car somewhere and walk around the track, something. There are ways to create space. There's ways to create time. And for me, my minimum is 15 minutes. I have to do 15 minutes of whatever. So set a minimum for yourself. Okay, so you want to aim for 30 or 40 minutes a day. So you tell yourself, I'm going to do 10 minutes of something. And then if I still have the time, I'm going to keep going. If I don't, I'm going to take a break. You can take weights to work at your desk, and you can do arm curls or lifts. There are just ways to integrate it in such a way that you're doing something that is physically active for yourself. And that doesn't have to be the 30 minutes all at once. Because I know one of our biggest complaints in our society right now is time, and that it's a lack of time. Anyway, hopefully some of what I've said has been helpful in terms of what cardio is and what weightlifting is and what each of them will bring to the table for you. And also what my progression was, hopefully will be helpful. I am going to finish my face and hopefully be right back and all of that stuff. See you in about 2 shakes. So there it is. There's our look. A little bit more subdued for me than usual, but hopefully you like it anyway. Some of my not so bright girls probably needed something a little less out there than I usually do. I do hope that our exercise stuff actually helped you think about it, what you want to do for your exercise as you go into the new year and make yourself a little healthier and all of those things. I hope there was some good information, useful information for you in there. Do try to keep yourself healthy and do so in a way that works for you. We will be starting talking about diet pretty soon. There were a lot of changes in diet over the years, and they did actually start when I started getting serious about my weight. So we'll talk about all that the next time. In the meantime, I hope you like what you've seen and that you will come back again. Or even better, that you'll subscribe. And if you do subscribe, I hope you'll check your notification bell. And if you're part of my notification squad, don't forget to check your bell, because yes, indeed, YouTube still hasn't fixed that. And if you don't subscribe, well, we'll miss you not subscribing, but hopefully you'll come back again, because you are always welcome here. And when you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. This still feels warm, so I think the little lid kept some of the heat in, but it doesn't feel hot. So the little lid kept some of the heat in, but it didn't keep all of it in. At least it's not cold, but let's give it a taste. Okay, this is not a good cool tea. There's a little bit more bitterness to it, but that also might be because it was steeping the whole time that we were doing this. Beyond that, I really love my little steeping mug with its little lid. I think that's cool. And I actually did enjoy the tea. If I had drinking it all at once, I think that bitterness wouldn't bother me because it wouldn't be there. It's cool tea. I don't think it's a tea that I will purchase anytime soon. And before I go, before anybody asks, because I know somebody's going to notice, yes, indeed, I am missing the grays out of my hair. As you all recall, in my double curl box unboxing, I received that henna fusion, and it had a dye in it, and I have tried it. I don't know how I feel about the color, but I do know I probably won't be doing it again, and we will find out more about that when I actually open my next curl box. In the meantime, thank you all for coming by, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.